What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to give you guys some tips, tricks and some personal advice. It may speed up the building process or just help you out in general. So with that said, let's get started. The first tip is to mark the center of your island. So what I mean with that is if you're going to enter your map, you go into fly mode and then open your mini-map and then mark the center of your island, because you will have a starting point and it's at the center. So with the mark you're gonna follow it on a mini-map, just like this, kind of swim towards it. And this can be used for making a 1v1 map or a hub, I don't know, but this is what I use to make a starting point of my map, so I know where the center is. And when you fall down, it's just way cleaner to look at. If it's centered, then I'll randomly place like over there. So that's not really pretty, so yeah, that's the first tip. Okay, tip number 2, and that is to use backup and restore. It's a really neat function and it helped me out a lot. It saved me so many times. I mean, without this, map making will be so slow. So I really recommend to use the setting, and it's at my island and then tools. They have backup, restore and then reset. Sorry for my voice. And some people has publish island because they have a creator code. I don't have a creator code, unfortunately, so yeah. What this does, it's basically a save state, and you can restore that save state. So yeah, when you're making something, always back up your stuff. Always back up your stuff when you're making a map. So for example, I just made this really simple 1v1 situation thing.
Alright, it's a 1v1 situation.
With all the settings, and I'm gonna save it. So back up, and at the top right corner it will say saving. But you messed up some settings by accident. You pressed a button by accident, so this happens by accident. You resetted all the settings right over here, and you broke something. So without redoing that stuff, now we're gonna restore it, and this has a cooldown. So you have to wait a few minutes or a few seconds, at least 2 minutes sometimes. So yeah, you're gonna restore it. As you can see, it will say this: restoring your island will load up the most recent backup you created with the backup island button. So you're gonna confirm, and then it's gonna load up all the things you saved, and here you go. So you don't have to scroll all the way down to reset, to redo all the settings, redo all the builds. So yeah, always back up your maps. And I really recommend this tip, and to use it by yourself, it can save a lot of time and a lot of issues. Tip number 3 is how to get a specific item from any gallery. So if you're gonna go to a gallery, I'm gonna go to the wavy sand and sandfield gallery, for example. At the bottom of your screen it will say open, and for me it's triangles. I'm gonna open, and now you can choose which specific piece you want from the gallery. So you don't have to open it or equip it, then save to a quick bar, then place it down. It's just too much effort. So what you can do is open it, and then you can choose the specific piece you want, and then you can use it. Tip number 4 is to use Flightspeed 0.5 more often. So you have this Flightspeed mechanic, in creative, and this is just how fast you're flying across the map. And Flightspeed 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2 and 3. I think most of you guys use 2 and 3. which I do too, but when I'm in the sky and I have to add some more detail in the sky and I don't have any surface, I use Flightspeed 0.5 to make it easier to add some detail. And this can be used too when you're stacking some things on each other. So when you want to stack things on top of each other and you don't have grid snap on, you can use Flightspeed 0.5 or 1. But I really recommend using Flightspeed 0.5. You know, take things slow. Don't speed things up, it might mess you up if you're only going to use Flightspeed 3 or 2. So yeah, take it slow, take your time, and use Flightspeed 0.5 or 1 more often. Okay, now it's time for some tricks. The first trick is how to place individual pieces on a grid snap without using actual grid snap, if that makes sense. So what I mean with that is if you're gonna make some custom walls, or just some custom builds in general, grid snap doesn't work all the time. So as you may know, you have this phone tool, and you have a quick menu in it, and then you can use all these settings. You have grid snap 1, 2, 32. Using this method, most of the time it will be on grid. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick example. I'm gonna make a custom wall. I'm gonna use grid snap first. I'm gonna resize it all to the max. And boom. Then I'm gonna use grid snap, doesn't matter which one, to align this. Then I'm gonna just rotate it to make a custom wall. So custom wall has curves in it, or diagonal stuff like this. I'm gonna make a little crack. So for example, you see this gap right here, you want to really push it in.
That's what she said.
You're gonna use no grid snap. To get it really good aligned. So now if you made a curved wall like this, grid snap won't work anymore. So you get the idea, something like this, right? And I'm gonna use grid snap 2. Show you guys. I'm gonna fix the light colors real quick so you can see it better. So as you can see, it isn't on grid anymore. Stuff is sticking out and it just doesn't look as good anymore. So with this trick, that should be fixed. So to get this on grid, you're gonna use a placed floor, wall, stair, or cone. You have to place the walls or stairs or cones by yourself first. And then you're gonna copy your wall or whatever. Then select the piece you want. And then you're gonna, if you want to stack it on top, you can do that. And as you can see, yeah, this is just, I messed this up, but yeah, you don't see things sticking out anymore. It's really smooth. Look at this. If you're gonna use grid snap, it's gonna look like this. You see, this is sticking out and this is not really in place. You can see some stuff sticking out like this, and this part is not centered as well. A lot of things is just wrong when you're using a grid snap. I'm gonna show you guys one more time. Select the cone, wall, floor, doesn't matter. And boom, smooth as butter. Trick number 3. On your phone, you have this option called Bullet to Prop, and it's at the Object Placement tab. And what this does is, let me see, I'm gonna pick a wall like this. And as you can see, this is on grid. And you can't move it like a regular object, you know. So this is a regular object, you know. You can place it everywhere you want. It doesn't have any grid snap. You can resize it if you want, make it smaller. You know, this is just a regular object. But some walls or floors or stairs doesn't have this freely object thing, and it's made on grid. So yeah, this is mostly with galleries, built-in galleries, you know, like towers or clock towers or a shack or a castle, something like that. Most of these galleries has this built-in grid mechanic, so it can only be made on grid. But with this tool, if you're gonna enable building to prop, a wall which is on grid can be used off grid. So you can resize it, make it smaller, make it bigger. You can turn it around, upside down, you know, just what you want. And this wasn't possible before, but Fortnite added this mechanic way back. So yeah, in the old days it wasn't possible. This only was possible with a glitch, but now it's just accessible for everybody. So yeah, this was on grid before, and now I can use it freely how I want to. I can push it away, push it back, I can resize it if I want. And this is a wall with a built-in grid mechanic. So yeah, if you're gonna enable this this build to prop mechanic or option, and what this option says, a building will become a prop. So I think it doesn't work with builds like this. Yeah, it doesn't work with builds like that, but for the rest of it will work on any builds. So yeah. Okay guys, now for some personal advice. And the first advice I can give you is to take things slow. So take your time when you're building a map or a hub or just creating something in general. I make a lot of 1v1 maps. I made 60 plus maps, and yeah, I'm just getting better with the day. And yeah, I take my time when I make my maps, and I don't finish it in a day. Most maps take 2 to 4 days, maybe even more, I don't know. You know, just adding some detail every day and make it better every single day. Adding some mechanics, adding some new props, you know, adding some cool stuff. And yeah, it will just really blend in together, and you know, the end result is really beautiful to see. From something simple to a very huge and unique map. And all my maps are really unique, especially the previous ones. I made a bottomless pit map. I turned a hand with nature into a 1v1 map. And yeah, it's just getting crazier with the day. And that's because I really take my time making my maps. I don't finish them in one day. And yeah, I really need hours actually to build one thing. So, you know, just to come with ideas and adding some stuff every day. My second advice is to take breaks. It's okay to take breaks sometimes. I think this is my first or second break, I don't even remember. But if you're just gonna get into creative and building maps straight for days, you know, it's gonna get boring. At least for me. I mean, it gets boring for me. I get no motivation. I get no inspiration. And yeah, I just take breaks to get inspiration again, to get hyped again for making maps. And you know, as you may know, I made a lot of unique maps. I turned a bottomless pit into a map, I turned a hand into a map. I made a lot of sick stuff previously, so, and that is because I really took my time and I took some breaks. Maybe a break or two, a break for 1 day, 2 days. Small breaks also matter, so. And yeah, that's just really what I recommend. It's okay to take breaks. You can maybe even burn out if you're just gonna build maps for days straight or hubs, you know. So yeah, take some breaks. It's okay to rest, get some ideas, get some inspiration. The last advice I'm gonna give you guys is what to do when you have no inspiration whatsoever. The first thing you can do is look up pictures on Pinterest. And if you don't know what it is, I think most of you know what it is, but if you don't, it's like the artistic side of Google, if it makes sense. So on Pinterest you have a large variety of unique ideas and inspiration. So if you're gonna look up sci-fi, for example, you're gonna see a lot of sci-fi related stuff. If you're gonna look up nature, you're gonna see a lot of nature related stuff, but with a unique twist actually. If you're gonna look it up on Google, you're gonna see exactly what you type. And on Pinterest, if you're gonna look it up, you're gonna see a large variety of unique stuff and different things. So yeah, use Pinterest, and it may help you out. Who knows? But personally, I just use Google a lot more because I want to be specific with what I look for. So yeah, but if you're gonna use Pinterest, just go ahead and use Pinterest. The second option is what I personally do, and what I do is I go for a walk and observe my surroundings. So I just go for a walk, I get into nature and observe what I see. So I'm walking on a bridge, for example, and it's held by a few pillars, and at the far distance I can see, you know, the woods or a forest with a sunset, you know, and I'm gonna try to recreate that in Fortnite. I'm gonna take some pictures and then I'm gonna recreate that. So it can be simple as that actually. Observe what you see. If you live in a neighborhood, you know, close together, try building some houses. You know, take pictures if that helps for you. And yeah, the last option is what I personally use too, is I follow a few nature themed Instagram pages. So for me, I'm interested in nature. I like being in nature. I like just walking around, you know. That's what I personally like. So follow pages that you're interested in, you know. So for me, I'm gonna follow nature themed accounts, and you have so much inspiration from that. I mean, you see mountains with houses on it, or you see a beautiful river, you know, it's just endless. And yeah, the ideas and inspiration can be crazy sometimes. And even then, if you don't have any inspiration, just go on a break for a day or two or even more. So yeah, it's okay to take some breaks, don't forget that. But yeah, if you just can't find any inspiration, I go on a break. Yeah, these were some tips and tricks and some advices what I personally use, and I hope you can use them as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope these advices, tips and tricks really helped you out. And yeah, leave a like if I should make more of these, and let me know if these work for you, so I know it's effective. And yeah, with that said, I'm out, and peace.